Hey, everyone, live with Big Zeb. Um, how you doing, Big Z?
Yes. Hey, I have a question for Dr. Kennard. I'm not
Yes.
quite sure how to phrase it,
All right. Well,
but
take your time.
well, America is faced with a genuine political problem. Every country has political problems.
Mhm.
And here you have, as Beto O'Rourke pointed out, the tendency to want to do nothing,
Yeah.
to lead the crowd at the morning festival, the festival of for all the dead babies,
Mhm.
but don't want to do anything. And having said that, this situation is so filled with absurdity that there should be humor in there, but I can't really imagine how what that humor would look like.
Well, I mean, it is difficult. I mean, the Onion comes out with a post every single mass shooting that occurs, and it's
Yes.
the country that consistently that this mass shootings consistently happens and can't believe that it's consistently
Mm,
happening. I have a ton of posts about the NRA, and my
yes.
recent one was that the NRA calls it unpatriotic to fly flags at half staff, after
Yes.
these shootings. Um, so there is humor, I mean, there's dark
Mhm.
humor, and there's satire. It's picking on, attacking the people who are doing this to us. You know,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
John Hudson, can you teach us how to pronounce Uvalde, if I'm pronouncing it right at all?
You were saying that right.
How you doing, John?
Uvalde.
Uh, just I don't know, far away. Feel far away.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was great day yesterday. Good stuff happened to me. Uh, my truck, I got it going, running perfect, and
Good.
Great.
the the well is up and running. And it's just I still feel like I was in El Paso when that shooting went down,
Yeah,
and that
yeah,
was a kid that drove, into El Paso because he shot up people because of uh, the border,
yeah.
and then this, which there is no answers to why it happened, and it just both of them happened so close to home, that
Yeah.
I,
It's horrible.
prior to moving to Texas, it was always somewhere else, and I just become numb to it. But when it's in your backyard, I'm scared to send my grandson to school.
I could see that, John. I feel that, John. Yeah, yeah.
Is
The oh, I'm so sorry, John. Uh, it's just this repeated horror story across America, and we have them in Canada too. You know, um, and it just but to see it for me, watching my next door neighbors suffer
Mm.
over and over again.
in high school, we all had gun racks in our trucks.
Mhm.
And, we took our guns to school. We didn't take them into school, but everybody had them. And it's just like, what the fuck happened? It just, nobody, nobody shot anybody. Uh, I just, we failed.
Yeah. Well, I think that's. I think that we as a and this isn't just I think we as a country have failed. I think there's I don't think there's any doubt about that.
A politician gets shot, Brady, Reagan, instantly there's laws changed,
Hmm.
But how many babies need to be murdered before we solve this problem,
Yeah, yeah.
You shoot a couple old bastards and it's criminal, but they send thoughts and prayers. That's all they get.
Yeah.
Prayers don't help dead people. And prayers don't help anything. It's just my heart is just fucking broken.
Yeah. Look, I was looking at some of the pictures last night of the kids, and I think that when we think about ways of going forward, I was listening to a local radio station, national public radio station, and one of the hosts mentioned that one of the greatest methods of changing hearts and minds is by photographs and by film recordings. And when you think about the Vietnam War, about resistance to the Vietnam War, a lot of that happened with pictures, seeing what was going on over there. Resistance to Jim Crow laws in the 60s, a lot of change occurred because of pictures from there. I think what we've done is that by not, and I have to tell you, one of the biggest things that really affected me when I was younger is when I stumbled on a Saturday afternoon, or it might have been a Sunday afternoon, a show on the Holocaust, and that really, the pictures from the camps really affected me, and I think and what the host was saying was that we need to see the bodies. We need to see the bodies of the kids, and we need to see them consistently. And that is a way to get things moving in the right direction. And that, it sounds horrible, but, if anyone can leak those photographs, I think that would probably be the best thing that they could do for the Republic.
Oh my God, Sammy's got my picture.
Hey, cuz.
That's my dad. Wow, that's uncanny. Put some sunglasses on that dude, and we're
Does
twins.
remind me a little bit of you, John, now that you mention it.
Yeah, you did it on purpose.
This is I used to have one of my stock accounts. This was the avatar, and his name was Randy Bigfoot.
Randy,
I
big,
love
like that.
He was a Randy bugger. Just jump into chats and cause all sorts of mischief.
Nice.
I like it. Well, of course I would. It's like looking in the mirror.
So, D Parks, side note, in my city, all buildings have their flags at half staff except churches.
Wow.
Yep. There you go.
Wow.
Oh, it's not sad, Andy. The kids just all went to heaven. They're in a better place now.
And this is how religion poisons everything. You're right, Sam. I mean that you're totally spot on with that. Because when you think that this world is secondary to the next world, when you think that what really counts is what happens after you die, then you can start rationalizing all kinds of crazy crap. And this is not an original idea that I'm saying. I've heard Sam Harris say this a million times. We're talking about the cardinal sin of religion is thinking that the next world is more valuable than this one. It's.
I want to puke.
What is Andy?
It's also
What
a
is-
carrot,
That's the argument. That's the only argument I've ever had people come back with. What if?
Oh, they're in a better place.
As in, what if there is a God and you didn't spend your life worshipping him? Do you really want to take that chance?
And once again, I mean, and here's the thing, and I'm going to just say this, is that we as a rational community cannot expect rationality, well-formed arguments, our best syllogisms to do the job that needs to be done. That's why, we have to follow the data and how do people change? And there are simple and difficult ways of getting people to change, and one of them is seeing the I was talking to the girlfriend about this last night. The parents, and I'm sorry, and I am bringing the room down, and I know this, but there are parents have to bring in DNA from their homes to
because the babies can't be recognized.
They can't be recognized because the nature of the rounds that were being shot at them, shot in the face. We need to see those faces. We need to see those bones. Whenever someone says anything idiotic, whenever a Republican says something like that, we just show them a picture of a kid with his face blown off or her face blown off. And you know what? That would stop the argument right there. That's how you change minds. That's how you change hearts. It isn't with syllogisms, it's with pictures. That is what will change people into voting. That will get people moving.
I would like to hope, Andy, but that's literally about all I can say. I know, I'm sorry, it's really cynical, but I'm really hurting at the moment about guns. And just the conversations I've been in, like I'm going through one of those lost faith in humanity moments again, because it's both sides of the coin. And it's defending guns. Literally, it took kids being slaughtered for people to come out and just defend guns.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are the numbers coming forwards against the guns? Yeah. I know thankfully, a lot of bigger name people are starting to speak up. Did you show last night that coach?
Yeah, I did, dude. I showed it yesterday.
More people need to be doing that.
They do, and this is what I was saying yesterday, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it again, is that it isn't just if we just have the talking heads on YouTube or on MSNBC on the Young Turks. If those are the only people who are talking about this issue, then that's not going to work. That's not enough. If we have people who don't normally talk about this but have large platforms, like the Warrior coach there, who his team is in the playoffs, then those are the people that need to come up and take the mic and speak out about it. Right? Those are the people that this needs to happen.
You said a word, Andy, that I tried Googling, but I don't know how to spell it, and I don't understand it. Syllogism.
Okay. So syllogism, it's just a fancy word for saying a simple argument. So it's, this is an example. In A equals B, B equals C, so A equals C. So it's a simple logical statement. My daughter came up with this joke. She said when she was like 7 or 8 years old, she came home from school. I think I've said it before. This is a simple syllogism. She said, magic isn't real. Santa is magic. Santa isn't real. That's an example of a simple syllogism. And so her next, and this is where the joke really is. She says, magic isn't real. Jesus is magic. Jesus isn't real. And that's an example of a simple syllogism right there.
Yeah.
When I don't know, I didn't know how to spell it. I tried Googling it. So
it's one of those SYLL.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I guess it's Greek in origin, right?
Yes.
So good luck trying to spell it.
Yeah. It was one of those. So that's like, So all the best crafted arguments, and they can help. They do help. I don't want to say that they don't, but when you're thinking about what's the biggest bang for your buck in a world of limited time and limited resources, in this particular issue about guns, it's pictures. It's pictures and video of what will change people's minds. And if you show enough Republicans enough dead kids that have their heads shut off, then that will do the job. They'll do the job.
All we see is smiling faces, the pictures of them smiling, and
Well, you can weaponize that too. I've been playing around with a subversive. I'll share this. I shared this on the private chat yesterday, and this is a way of I think I've been thinking about ways of going forward. How do we change hearts and minds? That's one of the.
While you get that up, can I ask your advice, fellas? So how can I argue or go up against this? So there's a group of people who are very open-minded, but they're just stuck on this gun issue and that basically the argument that I don't know how to go against. I would show them these pictures, and I could show them hundreds of these pictures, and they would keep saying the same argument. It's not the guns. It's the mentality. We need to change the gun mentality in this country.
Well, that's not true. And you can show that gun laws work. You look at just a cursory look at the data in terms of maps. There was a map I saw on Twitter last night about gun laws versus gun homicides, and it's clear. What are the states with the strongest gun laws? Massachusetts, Rhode Island. We have gun homicide rates similar to something like, if I remember the graphs correctly, like Western Europe does. So there is a clear relationship between gun laws and the lack of gun deaths. You can just show them in a picture. Just show it to them in a picture form. Just Google gun, the relationship, the correlation between gun safety and homicide rates. And then you just say it. Well, there you go. And then you can look at Western Europe too. Gun laws versus homicide rates, gun deaths. And you can just show them that. Well, the data is right there.
Both the kids are concealed carry. Phoenix and Nick, they both have their concealed carry. The guns are locked up when they're in the house. And there's 2 gun safes here that are locked up. I don't want any access to them because
kids. You don't want kids.
No, because I'm a crazy bastard, and so I don't want any access to them.
No, see, you're not. Well, you are crazy, John. But the problem is that there are crazier fucks out there. Sorry, than you, John.
And that's who I would go after.
Exactly.
And when I hear these otherwise rational people make statements about guns like that, is that it sounds reminiscent of people who believe in God and who are who are thinking about it, but they don't want to let the idea go. That's what it sounds like to me. I mean, that they have an emotional relationship with this meme, with this idea, and it has them. They do not have it.
I mean, because if I was going to go crazy, I'd be going crazy against gun nuts. I'd be going crazy against the right wing, and so I have a problem enough fist fighting people, that I'm responsible enough that I can't have them around me. I can't do it. I will go hunting with the kids and such, but our target practicing. But to have one in everyday use, I mean, I'm afraid I could do something wrong. So
I was looking at the background of the shooter in Uvalde, and he was out of school. He had voiced self-harm statements. He had voiced made self-harm statements, like weird, psychotic, delusional kind of self-harm statements to his peers when he did go to school, like how he was cutting his own face, but he didn't have any scars on his face. He was out of his house. He had been, basically tossed out of his mom's house, and now he's living with his grandparents. And the kid, he is a classic example of someone who should not be given a firearm. This is exactly that kind of person.
Well, there's guns that I don't think anybody should own. There's ammunition that shouldn't be sold, and why people are allowed to buy tactical gear to wear to deflect. That what the hell? Deer don't shoot back. Pheasant don't shoot back. I was raised in hunting culture my whole life. It was outings that we did as a family,
Mhm.
And it was for a harvest.
Mhm.
It was for the meat, and it was a togetherness. That it was.
Yeah.
I have great memories of doing that, and
Yeah.
and it's it keeps going this way. The people that like doing what I like doing, that's going to be taken away from them because stupid bastards are being stupid bastards.
I don't think anyone's ever going to stop hunting at least within the, I don't know. I mean, once again, I go back to Paul Camish, and Paul seems like he has guns and I know that there are guns in the UK, people but they're just realistic laws.
The money's from the licensing for hunting and such goes to conservation,
Mhm.
and the hunts are drawn out in certain areas to harvest an amount of animals to help them have a healthier population, to avoid overpopulation and such. And I think that's a good reason to. I mean, if we didn't harvest some deer around here, we'd have nothing but sickly ones, because we can the population. Would be too great that there wouldn't be feed for them and such. So,
one of the things that made the American public once again go against the Vietnam War is just seeing caskets come back, from soldiers. Once again, it's a visual representation.
There's been so many pictures of the Holocaust put out there, and there's still these Holocaust deniers.
Yeah, but they're very small. They're a small amount of people.
Yeah, I know, but that's a mental illness.
Oh, that is a mental illness, right?
And at that point, I mean, anybody saying that that's fake, I mean, shouldn't that person at that time? I mean, authorities come in and say, "Hey, you can't own weapons at this." You know what I mean? So that type of person, or somebody like me, that. And I don't have any. The kids have everything that I had. All my weapons have been handed over to them. Just because, I'm radical. But if I was to do it, I would be going after people that.
Well, I mean, there's once again, there are radical ways of going about about your business in terms of resisting. And let's see, I was looking up this gentleman's name the other day, excuse me, as I do some cursory. And I don't want to say that I advocate this because it's going to get me banned off of YouTube. I just want to say that. That being said, let's see. This is and we know this. We know this gentleman. I'm going to see if I can share. This is the gentleman who, in 1963, set himself on fire. He set himself.
Oh, of course.
I remember seeing that in picture.
That is
His name really Thick Quang.
I believe it is. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but
Right, no, I'm pronouncing it.
But yeah,
See, I think the pertinent question, and the one that I don't know that there is an answer to, but I'd love to hear opinions. It might be the question to take us to the end of the show, is with the sheer volume of guns in your country, what can be done?
Well, it's
Australia, we had a Biden, and then made significantly high enough punishments that people brought their guns back in.
Right. So I just want to say this is that it's about harm reduction, right? When we talk about caring for people who are addicts, we're never going to get to the point that there are no addicts in this society, right? This is about harm reduction. So it isn't a binary issue. This isn't a binary issue. This is about reducing harm, right? Because because we're not Australia.
Cool.
And so so what makes us feel overwhelmed is when we see a huge problem and we can't figure out how to break it down into pieces, right? And as my high school science teacher would tell me, is that, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? And I think it's more about reducing harm, right? It's about reducing harm as against to just the eradication.
Question for 420. Didn't Australia make great progress after that Tasmanian shooting? You changed your laws to prevent.
That single event brought about our Prime Minister at the time, yes, bringing in our gun laws and initiating the buyback. But Australia, I think we had a referendum, possibly, or it might have been after the fact, but it was like 90% of the population was in support of it.
Yeah.
We wanted to get rid of them. But having said that, anyone can go and get a license and get a gun, unless you're a felony criminal, or I'm sure there's some stipulations like mental health and so on, but anyone can still get a gun. So that's what I try and keep telling people in the States when I'm discussing it. It's not like the end of guns.
I would say definitely that, and this is a basic strategy that I've heard from other, from NGOs, like Extinction Rebellion. And I said this before, and I'll say it again: the best people to try to if you only have a set amount of time and a set amount of energy, the best people to talk to are the people who are not die-hard fanatics. The people who are still open to ideas. And you know what? Maybe listening to some street epistemology might help too. Is watching a couple of videos about how to change people's minds.
Well, I am a pro-gun advocate, but with stipulation.
Yeah. Well, John, you're the most important. You're the most important person to talk to people about it, because you have guns and you have an experience with guns, and research has shown that people in your situation, you're the best poster child to go out there and talk to people about trying to change their minds. On that note, I have to go to work. It's going to be another long day for Andy, and we'll do this thing tomorrow. And I'm sure we can definitely take up this thread tomorrow. Everyone, thank you very much.
Shalom.
Take care.